All right, y'all. Now, speaking of messy, let's get into this Britney Spears mess. So, we all knew it was coming eventually. It was just a matter of time. We just had to prep ourselves for the situation. However, I forgot that next week, Kevin Federline's memoir, You Think You Know, but you have no idea. I'm going to just start calling it that because that's like basically the log line that they use for, remember True Life back in the day on MTV? You think you know, but you have no idea. That's what it was given with that title. But anyway, so Kevin Federline's book is coming out next week. Um, and of course, with that, it's going to be okay. So, what's he saying about Brittany? Because you should know that that is going to be the main reason why people are going to want to read the book. My question is, do you talk about your relationships pre Brittany? Do you talk about you cheating on Shaw Jackson and leaving her to go, and why you had children with her to go over there to be with Brittany? But you over here talk about how she cheated on you with a female backup dancer. Oh, we don't get into that. And then how she was on the phone the night before y'all were to get married with Justin Timberlake. We're gonna break that down too. So this is some of the stuff, if y'all haven't heard already, that he's revealing in the book. So, and then we're gonna get to her statement, and then we're gonna get to her ex-husband's plural statements because Sam Asghari read him down to the floor, and her first ex-husband, Jason Alexander, has some words for Kevin Federline too. So Kevin, and then when I saw that video of him also on Entertainment Tonight, he sat down with Kevin Frazier. That's how I became aware of all of this. Then all of a sudden, I watched that clip. I started going down a rabbit hole. So we did an interview with Entertainment Tonight. We was talking to Kevin Frazier. Kevin Frazier was not letting up off of him too. He said, "Oh, we going there already? I mean, what? You want me to edge you a little bit before we get to the climax? No, I don't want the entree. I don't want hors d'oeuvres. Oh no, we get into the main course because that's why we're here. We ain't beating around no damn bush. What's the tea? Why you saying all this stuff about Brittany? And what are you trying to gain from it?" So he tries to act like it ain't a monetary situation. But sir, the timing of it all basically shows like it feels a little monetary. You pulled a little stunt to extend the child support payments by moving the family to Hawaii. So there was a loophole because Hawaii is a part of the United States. So, like, just like a lot of people don't know, Puerto Rico is a part of the United States too. But so you found a loophole by moving your behind and your whole family and stuff over to Hawaii so you could extend the child support payments. And now the child support payments is up. What's the first thing that came in your mind? Oh, I need to write a memoir. I need to tell my side of the story. And if you need to tell the things you need to tell, what you were saying that why you did this for your sons and all this other stuff, you could have just sat them down and told them the stuff, and that was that. Or is it that it kind of makes me also wonder, has he been poisoning them kids the whole time? Like, has he been like putting little things in their ears with them having this kind of feeling the way they've been feeling towards their mother? It kind of makes me wonder if he's not, because they always try to paint him like he's this upstanding citizen that took care of the sons and gave a damn and all that stuff. But now when I'm starting to see all these little interviews, it's not what it's giving. It's kind of making you seem like, yeah, you are the dick that you are. But anyway, let's get into the stuff. And then I'll probably windmill a little more in between because I can't help myself. So, in the book, he alleged their children would wake up to find their mother holding a knife while watching them sleep at their bedroom door. He also alleged their sons no longer wanted to visit their mother at home in their teen years, citing fear as one of the reasons, saying they would awaken sometimes at night to find her standing silently in the doorway watching them sleep. Oh, you're awake. With a knife in her hand, Federline wrote in an excerpt obtained by the Times. Then she turned around and pad off without explanation. Well, there could be some truth to that. I mean, we all know that Britney likes to dance with knives. She thinks she's Shakira. I mean, but that's part of, I believe, Shakira's Lebanese heritage, where they dance around with like blades and knives and all kinds of other stuff. Brittany, you a white woman from Louisiana. There's no reason why you up on Instagram or whatever in them Gerber baby panties and my ugly ass brown shoes in the foyer dancing with a knife. So that kind of make people think like, but with that being said, oh wait, hold on, because we gotta put the picture up. Because I come with photos. You can't be up in here doing the whole little, like I said, Gerber baby panties in the foyer. I can't see the shoes, but I'm sure they brown. And that polka dot tube top or whatever. Dancing with knives like she's Shakira or she a belly dancer. So then he also wrote about his growing concerns about his ex after she began having behaving erratically. He laid bare his fears that Spears was hurling towards an irreversible direction. The truth, he says, quote, the truth is this situation with Brittany feels like it's racing towards something irreversible. It's becoming impossible to pretend everything's okay. For where I sit, the clock is ticking and we're getting close to the 11th hour. You making it seem like y'all like a bomb's about to go off. You got a couple of minutes to to diffuse it. Like you being a little too dramatic with this situation. Sometimes something bad is going to happen if things don't change, and my biggest fear is that our sons will be left holding the pieces. Well, what pieces would they be holding? Because yeah, they got a crazy mother and an opportunist for a father, so they're fucked both ways. And it's no shade to Brittany. Let's just call it what it is. We know she ain't all the way right upstairs, and even if she's not all the way right because of the abuse that she has been endured from this conservatorship, and maybe there were some mental health issues. Because here's the thing: back in the 2000s, I don't really think we were dealing with women in mental health situations like we do now. We didn't really have names for it or really trying to help women in these situations. The difference was that Brittany had a lot of money, and a lot of y'all took advantage of her because she was this sweet Southern girl who was wealthy and one of the biggest pop stars on the planet. And a lot of y'all vultures, her family members, including her father, and this no good ass husband that she married out of, in my opinion, sheer rebellion. And I think that's why she did that. She didn't like being controlled by the record label and the industry and her parents and all that other stuff. She was going through her rebellious phase, which is what kids do. And so she saw this edgy type of dude like Kevin and was using him as a way, I guess, to rebel against the establishment and the industry and being this perfect little sweet pop star that she was being propped up to be. And I'm sure that Kevin, in between all of that, saw dollar signs, because you cannot tell me that you gonna let her being on catching her on the phone the night before your wedding with Justin Timberlake slide, and then weeks into your relationship before the engagement even happened, you caught her in bed making out with some girl named Teresa. You gonna let that slide too? Oh, I know. In the you saw the bigger picture. You saw dollar signs in them eyes, and you decided to be like, you know what? I'm gonna just let all this slide. I'm gonna let it keep like whatever, whatever, whatever. Because I know I'm gonna, there's gonna be a big payout in the end, and a big payout you got. You got a big payout when y'all got a divorce, and you got a big payout when you got soul cussing them damn children, and she had to keep giving you thousands of dollars in child support every month. And I'm not talking about like 4,000, 5,000. It was like a two, or it was two numbers with a comma and then the thousand afterwards. It wasn't just a single digit, it was double digits. So you was making a shit ton of money off of being in that. As they say, pay me for my pain, but you paying, she's paying you for you to just basically live off of Britney's grievances and a lot of her trauma and all that other stuff. So you were smart to know how to grift. And so let's get into the rest. Then it also reflects on the night in 2008 when she was committed to a psych ward at Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center and placed on a 5150 psychiatric hold after she refused to relinquish custody of her sons to Federline. And it was is that this is a mother, in my opinion, the way I'm looking at it, is a mother grieving. It's a mother whose back is up against the wall. She's got a lot of personal things going on, a lot of professional things going on. You got the paparazzi all up her ass with their freaking lights and the cameras and all the other stuff, the postpartum depression. There's a lot of that mixed going in. And instead of getting her to help, what did y'all do? You added a little more gasoline to the damn fire. In my opinion, this is basically just me as an outsider looking in and observing. So he called it one of the hardest nights of his life as he watched his partner in the midst of the ordeal, saying, I felt sick over what she was going through. This was someone I had loved, someone I had built a life with, the mother of my children. The event came just before Spears was placed on her conservatorship, which was terminated after 13 years amid support from the Free Britney movement. Oh, we also threw shade at the Free Britney movement too. But talk about how like, oh, it started out as a good thing, but then um it had unintended consequences on her current well-being. So now they also went on to say, while he says the support for ending the arrangement probably started in a good place, he notes it may have scared off professionals from helping his ex after seeing the backlash her inner circle received from Free Britney followers. And so he feels like she won't get help because the previous conservatorship that she was in, like she doesn't like dealing with actual medical professionals. And my thing would have been this: why wasn't there something put in place where it was like, okay, so we're going to let you out of the conservatorship, but under these conditions, you have to take your medications. You can go and choose whichever doctor of your choice that you want to check on you and see if you're okay or whatever the case is. Like there could have been things put in place where she was given the freedom to do what she needs to do to take care of herself. But if she don't want to get the help, then that's on her. She grown. She's an adult. She's able to live her life as she sees fit. Just like we said, we need to get Wendy out of her situation too. At the end of the day, she's a grown woman. This is her decision. She got to live her life the way she got to live it. And I don't think people should be judging her on it. If Brittany want to continue to sit out there dancing with knives in the kitchen or whatever the case is, I'm gonna just let her keep putting them videos up and trolling us, and I'm gonna keep making my little snide comments on social media in response to the mess. Because if you want the attention, I'm gonna give it to you. X going to give it to you. He's going to give it to you. X going to give it. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm thinking of DMX. So he also admitted to the Times that he has not spoken with Spears about what he has written. Well, of course not, because you're gonna cut your ass out. And I do have her what she said. He said, "I've never ever once been against Britney. I only tried to help my sons have an incredible relationship with their mother. And it's hard because when I really reflect on everything that's happened, my kids do not know the woman that I married. And I spent 2 decades trying to bridge that gap. Except you're writing it in a book that they could possibly read about this gap that you tried to bridge that you didn't want them to know about. But you're going to write a book so your kids can read and millions of us could read because she said what she said in her book. But here's the thing: Britney Spears' story has been told by so many people. It was only warranted that she get to come out and tell her own side of the story in her own words in her own memoir. So why do you feel that you important enough that you get to tell your side of the story? You could have just wrote a little note to your kids and let them know what the tea was and kept it moving. We don't need to know what was going on in your personal life with her, but we know what this is. You need to sell books. Just admit it. And you can't even, there's no way to curtail around this. And I'm gonna tell you this: I definitely feel that if he was to do a book tour, child, you about to get it worse than Kamala Harris on her recent book tour. They've been eating her up in them damn book tours, where they've been heckling her and all that other stuff. They're gonna do it to your ass 10 times worse. So if I was you, do your little interviews. Well, who you gonna do your interviews with? And keep it pushing. Don't go out in public trying to sell this book because they're gonna cuss your ass out. Oh, you know all the Britney files. I bet you Crystal Vanity gonna be front row and she's a friend to the show and also a big Britney supporter. That's why I brought that up. But anyway, so um and in her book, so speaking of memoirs, let's get to this part. So it says Spears said she never had a drinking problem. Oh yeah, because he said that she was doing drugs and she had a drinking problem. But here's the thing. Brittany was like, in her book, she admitted this. She said, now we know Brittany does have an occasional cocktail and all this other stuff, but she said she's never been a girl, the type of girl that has ever had a drinking problem or has taken hard drugs. She said her drug of choice was always Adderall, which is an ADHD medication. There's allegedly the drug that a certain president of the United States likes to take too. But if that's an ADHD medication, it damn sure ain't working on his part. So um I don't know if Adderall is necessarily what he's snorting over there. But anyway, so she also describes struggling with postpartum depression during their contentious split and custody battle, which is literally what I said without me even had to read this. She was going through postpartum depression. They didn't know how to deal with it, especially when she was a high profile celebrity who was at the top of her game. And we ain't never seen in before Brittany had kids. Have we ever seen her doing any kind of crazy stuff or acting goofy or whatever? I mean, she would act goofy or whatever, but she was just being an awkward kid. And we liked her for it. But once she started having children and dealing with a lot of that, your hormones start changing and all this other stuff, postpartum depression comes with that. And so I don't feel like it was checked. And her family should have known better. Instead of going out and be like, you know what, we're gonna help you and get you that, we're gonna help you get the help you need, or whatever the case is. No, let's throw in a conservatorship because we could benefit from off of her financially and force her to work and do the thing, take the one thing that she loves and basically turn her into a freaking cash cow, a slave for you. So that's why she don't like performing no more, except on her own terms in her foyer in them Gerber baby panties and them brown shoes. So they oh yeah, and then they also said that the knife situation was similar to what a claim that her sister Jamie made in her 2022 memoir, Things I Never Said, in which she claimed her scared sibling locked them in a room together while holding a knife, an allegation a Lucky Singer denied as crazy lies. So yeah, of course, he gonna jump on that. So yeah, so then he went on and said, oh wait, also let's get to the Justin thing because I want to see if there was any more specifics regarding that. So he went on to say that wait, I gotta find it. Oh yeah, he said basically that Justin Timberlake, she called him on the phone the night before their wedding. Now his latest claim comes amid the publication of his new memoir, in which he makes a chilling allegation that his and Britney's two sons woke up. We already went through the whole knife situation. We don't need to go through that again. He allegedly said that he heard a conversation where she called Timberlake while the couple were staying at the Fairmont in Santa Monica in one of the bungalows. He allegedly heard a conversation his future wife was having that concerned him. He said, I'm like, what's wrong? I thought she was talking to her mom on the phone or something, and maybe she was like having doubts. And she told me that she was on the phone with Justin. Federline said that he was stunned to hear the hitmaker's name, and he initially thought he might have misheard Spears. I was like, we don't have to do this. I don't buy that 1 second. You said we don't have to get married. You gonna sit there and turn down the opportunity to marry one of the biggest pop stars on the planet that you know if there's no prenup in place that you could get a piece of the pie? Come on now. He recalls saying, referring to couples impending nuptials. He said, I mean, he added, I don't care if we get married or not. Now, Federline said that Spears tried to calm him down by telling him that she was just trying to say her final piece to Timberlake to put an unfinished business to bed. And Spears' ex-husband recalled thinking, damn, on the night before our wedding, this is what you decided to do? Well, yeah, if that's the case, that was kind of messy on your part. That you going around using that as a way to break off a situation. But you got to realize also, not that I'm excusing the behavior, but you also got to realize that maybe what it is that, you know, Brittany and Justin have unfinished business. Brittany and Justin have history. Remember, in the book, her memoir, she admits that when they were together, he had talked her into terminating a pregnancy. And that's one of the things that she regrets doing. So there's history with them, but I do feel like it is kind of shady that she was just like, I need to break it off on the like I need to have that closure the night before. But I guess maybe that was just her way of being like, you know what, I got to put the final nail in the coffin. I need to be really sure about the whole situation, and that's that. It would be nice if Justin would come out and reveal if this is true or not. But then again, I don't feel like Justin would do that because Justin is somebody who has his own wife and kids, and you don't want to continue to open up old wounds and throw more salt on it, especially when you have a family of your own. And it's like, you know what, I'm not getting caught up in the mess. So, oh, and then we already talked about the female dancer where he basically said that they were at, and he said this was during the Onyx Hotel tour. And basically spilled the tea. Said it was Teresa Espinosa who he credits with first introducing the couple at a Hollywood club called Joseph's the month prior, saying it was one of those loose, carefree evenings where everyone was dancing, drinking, and just having a good time. He recalls in an excerpt published by USA Today on Wednesday, October 15th. We stayed out late, hitting one of the city's nightclubs until at least 1 or 2 in the morning. After returning to the hotel room, Spears allegedly told Federline that she would be right back. As time passed, I began to wonder what was taking so long, he remembers. I was thinking maybe she was catching up with someone or handling something tour related. However, as it continued to get later, Federline decided to go into the hallway to find Spears. As I passed one of the rooms, I glanced inside and froze. There she was, he alleges. Teresa was sitting on the edge of the bed. Brittany stood between her legs, hands on her face, and they were effing going at it, full on making out. Federline writes that he stayed silent, but at one point, Spears and Espinoza allegedly looked up and saw him, so he walked back to his room to pack his bags. I just wanted out, he admits. Eventually, Spears returned to their room too and asked Federline if anything was wrong. According to his account, he says he told her that he was leaving both Amsterdam and their relationship. She started apologizing, explaining, promising it would never happen again. She told me she didn't realize how serious I was about us, that she was overwhelmed and it had been a mistake. Okay, chill. So then he also explains in the book that he wasn't interested in a relationship that involved more than two people, but he decided to give Spears another chance, which exactly explains why he decided to leave Shaw Jackson while he was with her to go running off the Britney. Didn't Shaw admit that? That basically you was in a relationship with her and you had a whole family at home, but then of course you decided to go gallivanting around with Britney. So you really expecting us to believe that it was, oh, she up in there getting her, I know it didn't actually get that far. She getting her box eaten. She getting her clam sucked on by this backup dancer. And you mad? Because you thought you was gonna be the only backup dancer getting a piece of Britney? You want a piece of me. And she was giving out pieces of her to multiple dancers. And you ain't like it. Because you wanted to be the only one on the petri dish that was getting gobbled up. Okay. Well, you got the gag of your life, and you knew you was gonna stay in the situation. So we can wrap this up. Let's get to what Brittany said about the whole situation. So she issued a cutting response to her ex Kevin Federline after he made a series of claims in the book. In a statement, a rep for the star blasted Federline for profiting off the pop icon nearly a year after he received his final child support payment from her. And probably immediately after that child support payment, he went right into writing that memoir, or was probably writing it for years. But now he was kind of, I guess, dotting his I's, across his T's, and really going to work with it because he knew he was going to have that in his back pocket. You know, eventually when them kids turn 18 or whatever the legal age is in Hawaii, that you was gonna have to figure out what you do. What is it that you do? Because at one point, Mr. Popo Zal was trying to be a rapper. Then he was he was a backup dancer first. Then he was trying to be a rapper. Then you was a reality star. Then you was a DJ. I don't know if you still on the ones and twos, but maybe you need to go back to that. With news from Kevin's book breaking, once again, he and others are profiting off her, sorry, and sadly, it comes out the child support has ended with Kevin. Spears' sole focus is on her two children, sons Jaden, who's 18, and Sean Preston, who's 19, and their well-being amid the frenzy surrounding the book. All she cares about are her kids. They said a source also said that Spears does not fear the memoir set for release on October 21st, as she has already laid bare her whole story in her 2023 tell all, The Woman in Me, and will avoid publicly hitting back at the memoir to maintain some semblance of a relationship with her kids. So she gave her statement. And it's like, look, let the chips fall where they may. I said what I said in my memoir that came out a couple of years ago. Now let Kevin say what he want to say, and if y'all want to believe what you want. They also went on to say Britney is not scared one bit of what comes out of Kevin's book because everything that can be said about Britney has been said. Her true fans will be on her side. She was able to tell her side of the story already in her book. Absolutely nothing is going to surprise her. And if she hasn't been told about everything already in the book, her people are going to read it and give her all the details, just so she is aware. But once it comes out and has its moment in the sun, she will forget about it very quickly, as we all will. There isn't going to be anything that is going to make her go overboard. The source continued. Now, granted, Brittany does her own thing, and anything can happen with her at the fall of a hat. Tell us about it. And one late night, she could tweet something out there. And she does like to randomly tweet stuff. But this is different because she doesn't want to get into it because her kids and still want some semblance of a relationship with them. And she feels if she talks back on anything Kevin says in the book, it could provide a fallout, and she doesn't want that to happen. For now, she plans on shrugging off the memoir's claims once it comes out. So currently, she is going to let things occur naturally, have the book come out and go on with her day. There are close to those that are close to her have mentioned that this is the best route to take as well. And you know what's bothering me about that whole statement? The fact of the matter is, why she always got to take the high road? Why does he get to put out some bullshit and the son's got to be all with their daddy on it? But the minute mommy comes out and says something that your daddy is full of shit, why is it that you want to get mad at her? Because she comes because of her mental health history? But you want to let with that old succubus over there, that no good ass bastard father of yours, you gonna let what he says rock? To me, I feel like if he gonna say some stuff and she gonna say some stuff, I'm gonna be equally as mad. And not just gonna pick a side, but it's easy to just throw women under the bus, I guess. But she wasn't the only one that threw a little shade. Also, her ex-husband has I told her it was gonna be a lot in this with this topic. It's a whole lot to talk about. So yeah, her first husband, Jason Alexander, had some things to say. Okay, I can remove the picture because I was like doing that for effect with the Britney on the phone with Justin. So yeah, so Jason Alexander, her first husband, basically came out and said some things. Said, Kevin, you don't get to rewrite the story without owning your role. This is what Alexander, who's 43, began. Surprise, surprise, it leans heavy on painting Britney in a bad light. As someone who's known Britney most of her life, not just as her first husband, but as a friend who's seen what she's gone through, I can't stay silent. Kevin, you don't get to tell half the story, not when you were in the middle of it. Now, Alexander, a childhood friend who Spears married while under the influence, which I was under, in Las Vegas before the marriage was quickly annulled, went on to criticize Federline for portraying himself as an innocent bystander in his upcoming memoir, You Thought You Knew, while witnessing Spears' struggles. He wrote, That's not what went down. You were her husband. You were supposed to be her protector. Instead, you were partying right alongside her. The drugs, the alcohol, the chaos, you were all there for it. You weren't trying to pull her out. You were feeding off it. Exactly. Like a chaos demon. You thought you knew. Well, we don't need to talk about it anymore, like when the book comes out, because I ain't buying it. So, and I think that's all he said. Yeah, that's pretty much all he said. So we don't need to go into any more of the situation. But last but certainly not least, let's get into what Sam Asghari found behind had to say. And this is why I don't get when y'all be telling me it's about Sam is a culture vulture or not a culture vulture. Like he's using Britney. I've never felt that from him. I feel like he genuinely cared about her and stuff. But I know how people get overprotective when it comes to her. So anyway, so what he said was because TMZ, a photographer, basically asked him what he thought of Federline's upcoming book, and he basically said, "Well, he was a professional father." And this is what he said while walking outside West Hollywood's the Abbey on Saturday. I wonder if he was at that thing with what they were doing with the Mister, that whole campaign, because they had a lot of people there. T.S. Madison was there, a lot of the drag queens from Drag Race. Like it was a full on situation. I wonder if he was at that. And I saw Cardi B was there too, um, making it rain on some of the male go-go dancers. But anyway, so yeah, that's what he said. He said would be the first book that'll tell you how to be a professional father, and that's basically what he was. He was a professional father. Is that you basically made a living taking care of them kids while Britney was out there being a workhorse. So that's all I got on that for now. I'm sure there'll be more that we'll be breaking down regarding this Britney Spears story in the days ahead. I'll definitely keep you abreast of it as it develops. I'm actually glad that people are reading the book. A lot of the media heads are getting a piece of this book and putting it out online. So we actually don't have to spend the money. Look, I'm trying to save y'all hoes some money. So I'm spilling all of it on this episode, in this clip. So stay tuned because I'll be sitting here telling you all the stuff for free. So we don't have to give Kevin Federline no money. He just gonna have to live off of whatever his wife making at that university she work at, if she still worked there. And he gonna have to get back out there and start DJing little kid parties or whatever the case is that he was DJing. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Are you planning on buying this book? Do you give a damn about this book? Or are you just here like for me? I'm here for the grist. I'm here for the sensationalism of it all. I mean, it is sad that he's doing this to her. and it feels like that he got to tell his side of the story. But it's just like, no, you got to do what you got to do for as long as you got to do it. You participated in the mess too, so we not looking. You ain't that innocent. How many? Now let me tell you this. Now I'm going to rewatch this back and think how many references, Britney song references, that I use in this whole segment. Because that's a toxic ass man that she was married to. Quiet as it's kept, what you should do is instead of remaking My Prerogative, you need to remake No Scrubs. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.